Okay, what do you think internal audit's role is?
Our role, internal audit, very different from external audit. Our role is to assess the risks of our company and actually help them and protect them from making into the news for something that's negative, and to help improve processes and to make sure that the company complies with regulations and laws.
The role of internal audit is to understand the processes, to be the subject matter expert on risk, not the processes, but on risk, so that you can go to whoever the auditees are, learn what their systems are from those subject matter experts, and then identify the risks around it and come up with explanations and recommendations for resolving those risks if you find any weaknesses.
The role of internal audit is twofold. First, we provide assurance services, which means that we tell the board and management that things are or not working the way they're intended. The real value in internal audit can be in our advisory or consulting services. That's whenever we are able to go in and make recommendations to improve operations to where you really add that value by saving money, time, and employing efficiency. And the mature internal audit shops have the trust of their organization to where they can move toward advisory and consulting services and not just a more traditional policing assurance services.
Internal audit's role in an organization is to ensure not only safeguarding of company assets, effective use of resources, but also to make sure it's a multiple that moving between departments or between functions within an organization, that roles, expectations, policies, and procedures are clearly defined. And where those are not, internal audit's responsibility is to call those potential gaps out and work towards a resolution.
Well, internal audit is a value-adding entity, and I really think that that speaks to a lot of the work that we do. Whenever you're on a project and you really think that it's going to be really cut and dry, but it's those one-off things that you find that management isn't aware of. It's really giving like the value add to the company, and I really think that that speaks to what internal audit does.
Initially, I started off in internal audit in industry, so I was working within the commercial sector as opposed to consulting. And then about 13 years ago, I moved into internal audit consulting with productivity in the UK. So I've kind of seen it from both perspectives, from an industry perspective and from a consulting perspective. And, you know, and also over that period of time, there's been so many changes in the profession and also in the eyes of the stakeholders of internal audit. So probably when I first started, internal audit was really a kind of a backwater. It was probably something which large organizations felt they had to have just to be able to demonstrate that they had the appropriate governance structures in place. Whereas probably now where I am now, internal audit is regarded as a value-adding function as opposed to a pure play compliance function. And so we play at the right levels within the organization, and I think we get the respect. Obviously, being in consulting, I see a lot of different organizations, and within those different organizations, internal audit is kind of perceived differently. But generally, the trend is much more that internal audit is a value-adding function rather than a pure play compliance function.
Internal audit's role is to collaborate with business owners and process owners to identify control gaps, control deficiencies, and look for areas of process improvement to make sure that opportunity for fraud is minimized, and chance for errors is minimized, and that operations can run smoothly.
Internal audit's role is to work with business process owners, senior management of our clients to identify areas of risk, potential for loss, to enhance control gaps, to really strengthen the overall control culture of your client that you're working with.